Louise with louisemckayart, and welcome to my channel. And I am back to do a CD for a CD clock, and I have done a lot of these. And what's interesting about this particular creation video is that I am going to be using these or whatever creation video for this as a private tutorial where I'm going to go from literal start to finish, from taping these off and how I can do these very efficiently, taping off, to the finish where I have removed the tape, finished the backs, and mounted the clock mechanism and finished it for a table. So the intent here for today's video is to just show you the paint pour creation, but I am going to spill this paint pour creation over into a full tutorial that will be like my part 4 of my charcuterie and wood boards tutorial. It's a paid to play, but you'll have all the tips and tricks in one video from start to finish, which is something I wished I had when I was first starting out, because when I started out, it was a lot of trial and error. I couldn't even figure out what clock mechanism to use in the first place, so there was a lot to do, a lot to learn. But you would get it all in one fell swoop, everything put together for you. So it'll definitely be worth it, especially if you are starting out and trying to learn this whole process for the first time. The cool thing about these CDs is that they are so easy to work with. They're even easier, in my opinion, than coasters because they're round. And when you're working on a round surface and you're spinning, round is just a nice, it just works because it's spinning out all at the same time versus something that's a square or rectangle that doesn't necessarily do that. It just, for me, it's just how my brain works. It just works better on a round. And it's funny because when I first started, I worked mostly on squares. And all of a sudden I discovered a round creation. I was like, wow, isn't that cool? And then I worked myself into functional art, and then that was all she wrote. Because after that, I've been doing a lot of functional art, from coasters to the clocks here, to Lazy Susans, charcuterie boards, wood boards, you name it. Trinket boxes, wine glasses, yo-yos, jars, everything. Yeah, I've really expanded my, even trays. I've expanded my my profile a lot. All right, color. So that was my 6011N pillow paint. Get that at Home Depot. This is my 24 karat gold by Deco Art combined with iridescent gold by Golden. This is quinacridone Nicolazzo gold by Golden, which is no longer around. So if you're looking for that color, go to the Golden website and tell them you're looking for that, and they'll tell you what colors. There's 2 colors that work to make it. I think there's a quinacridone gold and another color that goes into making this. So the other half of this is TLP Zeus. And I do like working my TLPs in with my regular paints. I just like the combination and how it works out together. Now, I already made one of these, and I was really just a little disappointed that this did not show up very much, so I'm going to see if I can layer this in a way that I can get this to show up better. However that is, I don't know. This is TLP's Sea Glass with Master's Touch Ocean Green. Amsterdam's Sky Blue Light. And if you've recognized a lot of these colors, it's because I have them. And I'm really bad about using up all my paints. So sometimes I just have to, well, I do make a lot of other creations you don't even see because I'm just making them off camera, and I can't possibly show you everything I make because it's just too much. So I'm using a lot of this paint up off camera, but I still have so much left here. You know, you get in the middle of a creation and then you have to make a little more paint, and then you're stuck with more paint. So that's where I live. There's a color I have not used in a long time. By the way, my trace I usually go for is a 2 to 3 second trace when I drizzle it off the stick for my colors. It's mixed with my pouring medium, by the way, which is this Valspar A33124 in the semi-gloss Min Wax at a rate of about 3 to 1 to get about that consistency. So this is a funny color, and I always make fun of the name. It's called anthraquinone blue. And I shorten the name into anthrax blue. It's easier to say. So that's my anthrax blue. Beautiful color. And I was using it a lot a while ago, and then I fell away from it. I don't know why. There's just so many colors in so little time. So I'm pulling it back out of the arsenal. All right, and I want this one to show up a little darker anyway than the last one. We'll see which video I'm going to show you. I did video of the first one. All right, cell activator. This is my American Floetrol cell activator. Now, I have a video 141. I'll link it above. I show you in that pretty short video what ingredients go into it with precise measurements in grams. Definitely worth your while. You'll see the results, and you decide for yourself whether this is equivalent to the Australian that everybody says you have to have. That's the titanium white, oxide black. Here we go. So as I go about blowing this out, I take a deep breath in, and then I blow straight down into the center of the cell activator I just put down, trying to get it to form out into as much of a circle as possible to get ready for blowing it out individually into each of the petals of the bloom. I have a really good video. It's 419. It's called The Art of the Blow. I will link it above. If you're having trouble with your blow or finding your blow in the first place, that video has got a really good sheet how to find your blow. And in that video, I also talk about how the angle and speed affect your composition and how it blows out. We're going to play with this a bit. That one blew out nice. A lot of anthraquinone, which I'm happy about. So pretty. And my teal is, my turquoise is showing up. All right, so I'm going to, nice blow up because it's all even. Now I'm going to pull it over the edge. So when I get ready to spin, this paint will already have a flight path. It'll already say, oh, that's where I'm supposed to go. Because if you watch your paints, you will see if there's a spot where you did not cover and you're trying to stretch your painting out, you're going to see it. It's almost like the paint is breaking, like stopping. It's not wanting to flow in that space. So it's very important that you get all your bases covered, literally. It doesn't matter how pretty the edges are at this point because it's all going to get blown off anyway. All right, trying to make sure I'm shored up in the center. It's one of my challenges. I really need a template that shows me exactly where my center is because I do tend to not be in the center. All right, gentle spin to start to make sure I'm good. And plus, you don't want to spin the heck out of this anyway because you don't need to. Another thing, I have another really good video. It's 2:30. It shows how my spinner is set up here. And you'll see people with the spatula reaching under afterward to scoop up their creation. This is how you do it, in my opinion. It's video 2:30. I'll link it above. It's titled "No Flying Coasters" because it also somehow it helps keep the coaster stable on the base. It doesn't slide off. It doesn't fly off. And once you get this set up, it's so easy to clean up and to pick it up at the end. Because I can just pick this up right now like this. Easy peasy. Another spin. Don't need a spatula. I won't mess up the edges while putting a spatula underneath. To me, this is the way to go. But, you know, I also have no problem with people doing what you do. Do what you do. Do what works for you. When I'm here showing you my videos, I'm showing you what I've found to be the most efficient way to do things. There is no right way. There is just a way that works for you the best. Oh, look at this. So much depth with that sea glass showing through. Oh! Okay, I'm going to run the toothpick along the bottom because you always want to clean your bottoms up. I think that's what some bears do in a commercial for Sherman or something. You got to clean. Make sure you have a clean bottom. Clean your bottoms because where the bottoms are, the paint is pulling, and it's pulling the paint from the top off the sides, and you want it to stop. This is where you want the brakes to come on. So if there's no extra paint pulling over the sides, your paint won't want to be pulling over the sides. One last spin. I still think I need to put more of that green down, which I need a different color that's going to be more prominent. A different green like this. I know of one that works. I just didn't want to mix up another color. This was one of the first paints I ever bought. It's at Art Mines. It's when I was first learning. It's called Antique Agua. It is a gloss. It's a soft gloss. But you mix this up with the bloom. This color, this is what it looks like. It's really nice. And I was going to use it for this, but I just did not want to mix up another paint. Quite honestly. I've got too much paint over here that I haven't used up. All right, this is going to be the last spin. And I am Gabby this video. One last cleanup. Clean up the bottom. So the next part of this, if you are going to be interested in the private tutorial, the next part of this will be the resin, where I show you all that I do preparing for resin, how I set up for resin on the resin table, how I actually resin itself, and after resin, and the cleanup, and the finishing off the back, and attaching the clock mechanism, finishing up with to the point where it's on your desk. All right, guys. Oh, here's another air bubble. I don't know if you can see this, but when you have an air bubble, you're best off popping it before too long. Just kiss it, and then it pops open like that. And then you hope there's color in there, but in this case, there's not. So I'm going to get rid of that white. All right. I think we're done. Here we go, everybody. That's where we are. We'll be back for the final creation. As soon as this dries, after about 5-7 days, I'll be resining this. All right, we'll be back for the final results. So everyone, that's a wrap, and here are the wet results, and I included 3 in this video just because I did 3 altogether, and actually these are all the same color palette, just different quantities of paint, and I think one I layered differently. And here are the final results, resined, and I always show you the final because I want you to see that what we created actually turned out in the end. So if you're new here and like this, please join me by subscribing, hitting the bell and all. You'll get all my latest art tutorials. And if you can all leave a little comment what you thought about this, even a heart or a hello and a thumbs up is always appreciated as well. And if you're able to hype this video too, I'd appreciate that so much. And a reminder to check out my description for links to some of the products I use and links to some of the more educational tutorials. And speaking of educational tutorial, and the paid for play tutorial will be available tomorrow, January 21st. And it's filled with details, some of which I've never even shared with you guys yet. Just email me your interest. My email is in the description and we will get you set up in that video right away. This 1-hour tutorial is so detailed you will be creating these by this weekend. And I know this was a long, shameless plug and I don't typically do things like this, but I'll tell you what, this is well worth it, especially if this is something you're considering making for yourself or friends. So with all that said, that's all I have for now, everybody. Take care. Till next time.